Hi, Ange. Can you see me? Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Okay. Can you hear me? Okay. I see you're on mute. Hi. Guess I need to figure out how to change my name. There we go. I can't hear you if you're talking to me. Okay. That's okay.
Hi.
Hi.
That's my friend Angela.
Oh, okay.
Hi to you too. I was trying to be subtle.
I'm having some technical difficulties. I'm sorry about the delay. I was struggling trying to get in here and get our guest speaker in here, so I'm trying to get her in here now. So please bear with me. Okay, let me do this. Uh-oh. Still there. All righty. So, were y'all able to join using the link in the email, or did you use the link on the website? Website? Okay.
I just,
LaDonna, the first time I tried to log in, it said something about the host had another meeting or something. And then I logged out, or, I backed out and then logged back in and it worked.
Okay.
and I just went to my Zoom icon and entered that number, the 722
The meeting ID.
722-022-48588, and that
Okay, I think I had some confusion in the beginning. I should have used the link in the email, and I was using the login ID, so I had some confusion in the beginning. So I'm gonna give a few more minutes. We've got some people trying to get in here, and I think they were trying to use the link in the email. So I'm sorry about the delay, y'all. I know everybody's time is precious.
No, thank you so much for doing this.
Oh, you're welcome. I'm a little rusty on Zoom, and I'm having a rough night. One of my
Oh,
is passing away as we speak, so I'm just
oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. Oh,
kind of crazy tonight.
praying.
Thank
Oh,
you. I'm just in a rough few
oh
nights.
my gosh. Oh,
Yeah, I just lost a friend's husband just passed from COVID, and now a friend of mine is dying from lung cancer, so it's kind of rough.
oh,
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Thank you. Hi, Beth. You're on mute. Hi.
Hey y'all, how are y'all doing?
Hanging in there.
Sorry, I couldn't
Everybody's being
connect
really
before.
patient tonight.
No problem, no problem. Sorry I couldn't connect before.
Oh, it's not your fault. I'm sure it's something I did. I was doing the wrong thing tonight, so.
So welcome everyone.
Hi.
Shall we give it a couple minutes or should we just go ahead and start?
I was trying to give just a couple of minutes for anybody else who's trying to jump in here. It is getting a little late though. It's 6:41. So I'll go ahead and introduce you. I'm standing in for Christy tonight. She's out of town, so she's not able to host. For those who don't know me, I'm LaDonna. I'm usually got my screen blacked out because I look a hot mess most weeks. So I've got my fro popped out tonight. It's taking up most of the screen, I'm sure.
Good.
So I'm LaDonna, and tonight we have a very special guest, Beth Herzig, and she's going to be talking to us this evening. And thank you for joining us tonight, Beth.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you for having me.
Yes, ma'am.
So thank you so much everyone for having me. I feel like we are all part of one big Sangha in the South. I've sat in a couple of times with you guys, and then Flowering Lotus, which is a place that I'm a board member, has hosted Christy. I was telling Christy that LaDonna, actually, my connection with you just very briefly on social media is what made me find out about Mississippi Insight meditation. So, and she did not know that. Like when she told me that you were going to help facilitate this, she was like, "Really? I didn't even know that." So it's a small world and we are all interconnected. So as much as it is hard to believe with all this pandemic and COVID, I actually did get to sit with Christy in a weekend retreat in person, IRL, in real life, before the pandemic. So I do feel really blessed that, you know, we did connect in that way. Because as we all know, there's not a lot of people that are practicing Buddhism in the South. So we kind of have to stick together and really find those connections where we can. So I do want to just say thank you. If you don't know, I actually live in Madison, Mississippi, which is right outside of Jackson. And I've been doing meditations in person weekly, you know, pre-pandemic, and then some after or you know, now, whatever this is. Every Wednesday, I do it somewhere in Jackson. So I kind of bebop around in different places. There's a salt cave here. So we do meditation in the salt cave, which is
Wow.
pretty good. Yeah, it's a great place to close everything out of, you know, our distractions and things like that. But then I even do it at like a place that is like someone's store. I did it at a bakery for a long time. I've done it at a float place, which is like a sensory deprivation float center. But what it really has taught me is that offering a space for people to gather to do group meditation really is the key. And it doesn't matter what the place is. It's about who shows up and having that kind of shared intention of having a mindfulness practice and having each other to hold ourselves accountable to sit for maybe a little bit longer than we would if we have our own personal distractions in our homes and the reason to jump up, or just thinking, I think that's good enough. We don't have those other people to keep us accountable. So I understand that the format that you guys usually do is to sit for a short moment, and then I'll do a Dharma talk, and we'll do that just a kind of like a little bit more abbreviated since we started a little bit late. So we'll sit for about 10 minutes. Does that sound good? Is that good, LaDonna?
Sounds great.
Okay. So go ahead and find a comfortable position. Really noticing and feeling what's going on with your body right now. If you're sitting, feel the connection of your body to the floor, to the seat. It helps to straighten the spine and sit up with some respect and reverence for our practice. If you want, you can pull your shoulders up and then back and then let them fall, relaxing and releasing any tension you feel in your neck, shoulders. Allow your focus to come to what it feels like in your body to breathe. So allowing your awareness to be on the in breath as it happens and the out breath as it happens. Of course, the instruction to be with our breath and notice our breath and feel our breath is a simple one, but not easy. So with kindness and compassion towards yourself, if you notice that your attention has been called away from that, gently guide it back. Your breath is always there for you to be a focal point. And just begin again. No matter how many times we begin again, it's perfectly fine. See if you can let go of any of the distractions that come to you. And if you can't let go, see if you can put them down. Each new breath is a new moment to be with. Okay. You may bring your meditation practice to a close. Can help to move your body a little bit after sitting still. Wiggle your fingers and toes. Come back, bringing your attention to the group. So I wanted to talk to you guys tonight about your meditation practice as a tool that is helping you in not only being a good meditator, but practicing presence in your daily life. So in my journey, I really kind of want to share a little bit about how I have done this in my life and how it can be helpful towards your meditation practice and cultivating presence off the cushion as well. So a lot of times I think that we don't necessarily correlate all of the things that we're doing. I know that for me, when I first started learning about Buddhism, I really was going to a lot of retreats, but they were taught by different teachers. And I would say there wasn't like this cohesive like understanding of the path, or, even what I really feel like is somewhat overwhelming in Buddhism is all the lists, right? And how do they interact with one another, and how does that and then kind of form this way of life, or a philosophy as a suggested way of life. And so really, I don't know if you can do this, LaDonna, to make me the co-host. You did do that. I'm going to see if I can share my screen, because I'm a very visual learner, and I have this it's kind of like a diagram of all of the lists and how they interact with each other, which of course, that's not what my whole talk is going to be about, because we would be here for days. But I just want to kind of show you where meditation falls into things. And let me see if I can do it real quick. Let's see. Are you able to see this the middle way?
Yeah.
And you can? Okay. So basically, I mean, like I said, this is a very extensive list, right? But the great thing about you guys having Christy as a teacher is that you probably have a greater understanding of this than me going to like one retreat a month. You know what I mean? But so right here is your 4 Noble Truths. Okay. And then right here, are you able to see my mouse moving?
Yes.
Yeah.
I
Okay,
can.
good. Okay, good. Okay. And then the Eightfold Path right here is wisdom, and then right understanding and right thought fall under wisdom. Morality, right speech, right action, right livelihood, that falls under morality. And then meditation is actually 3 different parts of the Eightfold Path, which is right effort, right mindfulness, and right concentration. And so then that bears to be able to, have this idea of a quietude of heart and mind and seeing things clearly. So clear seeing and insight. And then as you move forward, your concentration is better. So then you're going to be going into these other states of meditation, or in order to be a better quote unquote meditator, you're working on these things. So you're feeling what it feels like in your body to be present, feeling the actual emotions and feelings, and also understanding that your mind and the objects of your mind are, things that you are being mindfulness while in meditation. So, I mean, it gets, to me, it's not complicated, but it's very kind of complex, I guess. But I just kind of wanted you to see, because is it okay if I stop the share? And I can send that to you, so that, because I feel like that whole map of everything to me is so like, okay, now I kind of see the path. And even like if you're having trouble with certain concepts, if you look at that, it really shows you like, okay, well, if you're struggling in this thing, then you need to be kind of working on this. So anyway, I just wanted you to see that, because to me, I really do know that what the Eightfold Path is, but I didn't really ever categorize them into those 3, I guess I guess what's the heading of the outline or whatever, the subjects. So in meditation, right effort, right mindfulness, and right concentration, that can also be in life off the cushion too, right? So if we're sitting here in meditation, I do want to be a good meditator. I want to have, you know, my thoughts with what is happening here and now. And I do want to be, you know, the definition of mindfulness is to have your mind full of everything that's happening right now in your mind's emotions, your body, but also to have a putting goodwill towards that, to have a caring, compassionate attitude towards what is happening. So in sitting, I think that when we're learning how to meditate, that is a challenge, because I don't know about you guys, but for me, I'm like, if I am thinking about what's going on with me, I start judging myself and I start saying, well, I'm not doing this right, or I don't look like this person over here on this cushion, and I'm not sitting right, or maybe I'm judging that, oh, I shouldn't be thinking about that right now. So that in and of itself is a practice to have the kindness and compassion towards yourself, to understand, yes, I will be distracted. Yes, these thoughts will come that will call me away from what I think I'm supposed to be doing. But having that caring attention towards myself and understanding that, oh, that's okay. I'll just start again. And so, you know, that is another thing that, okay, we can take this out into the world, right? So I'm not sitting here going, why, you know, I'm not sitting here judging other people because I don't want someone to judge me. In the same way, I don't know how you guys feel about if you're more judgmental to others, or you more judgmental to yourself, but I feel like we are all our own harshest critics. That self-talk, I mean, I don't want to say that everyone has negative self-talk, but I think it's a practice to talk ourselves out of having negative self-talk. So being mindful and having the right concentration, even of that interior dialogue that we have with ourselves. So I don't know if when I'm sitting on the cushion, I kind of sometimes go through all these different things in one sitting. You can go through all these different mind states almost. And so I would say when I first started meditating, I was getting caught up in that. I was getting caught up in like, am I doing it right? Is this the right way? And knowing that this kind of interior dialogue is something that I can put to the side. I can say, this is normal to have all these questions, doubts, fears, you know, things that come up, and know that that is normal and everyone is feeling that. So I don't know how many times you've looked up when you're meditating, like, you know, on the screen, and you kind of check everyone else out. Well, you know, I'm going like, oh, am I doing it right? Do I look okay? Am I doing it the way that everyone else is doing it? Or you're in real life, things happen. Like my dog just growled. I'm like, did everyone hear my dog just grumbling and moving around, you know? But the thing is that we all, especially as fellow meditators, fellow Buddhists, in these settings for sure, have kindness and compassion towards one another. And then I would question, like, are we having that towards ourselves? Right? So like, are you having that towards yourself in all of these situations? So right effort is showing up to me. Right effort is that we all showed up. We did sit for 10 minutes. We are, you know, being as engaged as we want to be and can be to this talk, and to also sit later together. And then right mindfulness is like having that kind of kindness and compassion, and knowing that we are being in the present moment. So trying to let go of the future, trying to let go of whatever the past that we want to try to bring into all of these moments, letting that go or putting it down. I think a lot of meditation teachers talk about letting it go, and that can be hard. So I've often heard about, you know, a technique of like, let's sit it down. So it's going to be there. I promise. Whatever the thing that the weighty thing that you're carrying, it'll still be there when you're done meditating. So I sometimes kind of envision myself letting it sit next to me and be with me as I meditate. And then right concentration is that practice of beginning again. So when you notice that you've been called away, to begin again and have the patience with yourself to allow that beginning again as many times. You have an infinite amount of chances to be with the present moment. And that's why I really love breath-centered work, because breath-centered awareness, because each new breath is a new moment and each new breath is a new chance to be present. So that's all of those things in the sitting practice. Now, how can we do that? And, you know, hopefully we all become like the best meditators in the world, and we're doing that all the time, no problem, right? But then once we kind of see that as the goal, I guess you could say, or as the intention of our sitting practice, how do we then take that into the real world? So I'm sure that many of us have had this feeling where maybe you're driving somewhere and then you're at the destination and you kind of look up and go like, I don't even remember driving here. Like you've been zoned out into your thoughts, or you've been, you know, planning what's going to happen when you get to this destination, or even something as simple as like making a grocery list in your head. But that kind of moment of zoning out is not being mindful, right? You're being mindless in the way of driving the car. And to me, it just amazes me sometimes when I kind of snap out of it and I go, oh my gosh, I missed all of that. I oftentimes do think about, before I ever started having any concept of mindfulness or meditation, I feel like, I mean, honestly, the first time I ever was explained to it, I started crying because I was just choked up at the fact that I missed so much beforehand, because I was always, for me personally, I'm there, I have the tendency to like be planning. I'm always like, what's next? What's next? I'm kind of like a pleasure seeker in that way of like, I'm planning this big thing that's going to happen. And then guess what? All of that time of going, I can't wait for this. I can't wait for that. I've missed all of the things that I was, should have, or could have been experiencing in that present moment of this planning and wishing and being over here in the future. And I know that all of us have our different patterns, but the great thing is that in that, you know, right effort, I still have those tendencies. I still have the want to start planning and going in the future. But because of this practice that I practiced by sitting on the cushion, I can catch it. I can see, oh, there you go again. You're about to go into the future, but nope, let's come back here and be with what's happening right now. So not only the example about driving your car, we're doing that all the time in our daily lives. We don't even realize it half the time, I think. But what I would question and ask yourself is, are you able to catch it before you go too far down the road of being in whatever your pattern is? So I think that all of us have our different patterns. So maybe even when we're sitting in meditation, we can see, oh, that pattern that I'm going to plan something, instead of like, I don't know, I used to use my meditation as my planning period. I was still going into the future, you know? So to me, I would see myself doing that and then I could catch it. So more and more practice on the cushion can now help me in being in the present moment in real life, see, oh, there I go again. I'm sitting here at, you know, maybe I'm sitting at work, but I'm thinking about something I'm going to do after work, or I'm sitting with one person and I'm thinking about something else that I'm not even giving the full attention to the person I'm with. I don't know how many of us here are parents, but I feel like that is something that is so challenging when you have kids, because that child deserves your full attention. But as a mother, as a parent, we're always thinking of all the things we've got to get done, which does have the good intention, because we are trying to care for our family. We are trying to do all our daily tasks, but all that child really wants is your full attention. They just want to know that you're paying attention to them, you know, and they don't really care if the laundry isn't folded. Do you know what I mean? Like, that isn't the most important thing when your child is feeling like, does mom even hear me talking about my Minecraft game? which you're like, oh God, I gotta listen to this Minecraft game. Yes, you do. You have to try to be engaged in this conversation, you know? So, and I think it also goes to like having friendships, having good conversations with people, and even the person that isn't the person you're caring for, right? So that's another thing that I noticed is that especially in social settings, I feel like we are probably all really out of practice of being in real life with people and having like a one-on-one conversation just from COVID. And definitely, you know, even on Zoom, it's kind of hard to like read people's body language or see if they really are paying attention. A funny story is I have a Girl Scout troop, and we tried to do Zoom calls for meetings, but it was just so hard because everybody turned their cameras off. And then I was like, am I just talking to a void? And I would be like, okay, calling on people. And sometimes they wouldn't even like unmute or like put their camera back on. I'm like, are they even at their computer? You know? So I know that it's challenging in this day and age for sure. But one thing that I would maybe recommend or even practice, so just like our meditation practice, this isn't something that we just talk about and then tomorrow we're all completely present in every conversation that we ever have. You know, it's about practicing all of these things. So in an interaction with another person, can you think about, am I having right mindfulness right now? Am I being mindful of mindfully listening is probably one of the hardest things that I would say that in relationships, in any interaction, it's so hard because especially if you don't know the person, you might be thinking, oh, I want to think about what I'm going to say next, right? So how many times have you been quote unquote being the receiver of whatever they're saying, but you're not receiving anything because you're already planning what you want to tell them next? Or in what I would call a definitely not right concentration or right effort, you interrupt them because they said something that you really that really resonates with you. So you just stop them mid-sentence and go, yeah, that happened to me too, and blah, 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 blah. Well, you think you're connecting with them. You think they're, you know, adding to the conversation, but in fact, you've just shut them down from whatever that complete sentence was going to be or that complete thought. So that too is not right mindfulness, concentration, or effort in being a good listener. So what if you practiced even, some people can even be distracted if you're doing this. You know, like, why do we have to feel like we have to, you know, acknowledge? I think acknowledgement is important, but it's also important to know, to let the person know or let the person complete their thought and complete what they need to say. And something else that I feel like in conversations between two people is a challenge is allowing space. So one exercise that I've done, and I've done it through, I would say I've done it through therapy. And then I've also done it in meditation settings where at the end of a retreat, I don't know how many of you have ever been, I've really never been on a very long retreat, but even a 3-day retreat, your mind has gone a lot of different places in that short amount of time. And something that is almost like a way to come out of silence, out of a retreat, is to allow for people to let go of whatever they've been thinking about and allow them to verbalize everything. So I don't know if any of you have ever done this in a therapy session or like with another person, or even this, sometimes we do this with perfect strangers because it's about allowing this person to allow their thoughts to come out without you having to say anything. And sometimes that is really what people need, is just to be heard. So in this practice, it would be a situation where sometimes I have to sit on my hands because I want to, you know, even with my body, react or say something to someone. And it takes locking eyes with the other person. And this can be very intimate and kind of scary sometimes because this isn't something we're used to doing. But I'm talking about sitting across from someone almost knee to knee, looking them straight in the eye, and then allowing whoever, you can make up a rule. I mean, it doesn't really work when you know the rule, but like in situations where it was a therapy thing or with the meditation practice, they might say something like, the person with the longest hair speaks first, or, you know, the tallest person speaks first, or something like that. And just figure out a way that someone is the first person to speak, and then set a time limit and let them just let everything out, you know. And then the challenge for the receiving party is to literally, right concentration, just hear everything, and don't be planning what you're going to say, because you're not to say anything back. You're to just receive what they have to say. And then it's your turn to do the same thing without commenting on the other person's share. So I know that I'm talking about this all conceptually, but think about interactions with people that you meet on a day-to-day basis. If you're at a social gathering and someone's giving you, even if they're like giving you their elevator pitch and they're a salesperson, they're telling you everything that they do, are you even listening? Or are you thinking about what your response is going to be before they even finish speaking? And I think even in a social setting with peers, or especially with kids, they just want to know that you were listening to what you were saying. And that is such a gift that you can give to people. And that is a practice of presence. So being present with every word that comes out of that person's mouth without thinking of yourself, right? So it's a, I would even say, a measure of generosity towards them, to give them your presence, to give them your attention, and practice all of those things we practice on the cushion in real life. So you can do that very, you can easily not do it. I think it's harder to practice doing it for real, you know, and notice when you didn't do it. So even me as a meditation teacher, pretty much at the end of every sit, people will want to get up and start chit-chatting. And then it's almost like Murphy's Law, as they say, like someone will come and talk to me, but then I was like, oh, I was going to tell this person something. And I felt myself not really listening to this person because I don't want the other person to walk out the door before I was going to tell them whatever it is. Right. And then I realized, oh my gosh, I'm not being very mindful in this moment. So perhaps my kind of advice or challenge to you all would be to see when you notice that you weren't being present, right? So practice being present, see how well you can do with your loved ones, with the people that really deserve and you know, need that attention from you. And then notice when you realize, oh, I just left this store and I don't even know what I said to that person, or was that person even talking to me? Or, you know, we interact with so many people within a day without even realizing it. Even just having a conversation with someone at the store that helped you, you know, can be such a gift to that person as well, you know. And I don't recommend, like, you know, tearing down everything that's going on in their lives at the checkout line, you know, but I think it really has to do with being present in all of your interactions does add a fruitfulness almost to every step, everything that you do within your life, instead of kind of being on autopilot all the time. So that's really kind of my concept of like how I have been able to take my meditation practice into my real life with being present and noticing when I'm not being present, and how it kind of makes me feel empty. It makes me feel like, oh, I missed that. And I don't want to have like that FOMO of, oh man, I kind of could have had this connection with this person. Then because I didn't allow for my own, you know, quietness to happen, allowed to put that interior, I didn't allow for that interior voice or that interior judgment, whatever my self-talk is, I didn't put it down enough that I didn't even give the floor to the person that was standing right in front of me. So that's pretty much my talk. I don't know if I really went as long as I was supposed to go, but that's really what I wanted to talk to you guys about and see. I would love to like open up the floor and see. We have a pretty small group. If anybody wants to speak on this or has any examples from their own life about this, or you know, would you guys be open to that? Or
Absolutely. Thank you for opening up the floor. I'll just say that I have a confession to make. even even as you were speaking, I was distracted. I was telling the ladies before you entered into the room how I was struggling. My friend lost her husband to COVID, and I'm losing a friend right now to lung cancer. And so I'm watching the phone, I'm looking at the phone, you were speaking, and I was trying to give you my attention, but I'm watching the phone constantly for an update. So, I know it's important to be present, and sometimes I just feel divided, but I'm working on that, trying to be present, in every moment. But sometimes I just feel completely divided. Like I need to be present here, but Julie needs me. My partner needs me. My friends need me. They're losing people. I need to be here. I need to be here, and I don't know how to deal with that. I can only be, really, honestly, you can only be in one place at one time. But I feel like I need to be in so many places. I just don't know what to do about it.
I would say that's definitely a challenge of someone that is so caring, like you're such a caring person that you want to be there for so many people. And you're right, the actuality of being there, like physically and present with one person at a time is truly all we can do. And I think it also, LaDonna, it has a lot to do with your intentionality. Like you do have the right and beautiful intention to be there for all of those people. And I don't know you that well, but I'm willing to bet that those people know that about you. They know that you're a loving, caring person, and that anytime they need you, you're going to answer that phone. Doesn't matter if you have a talk going on. So like, I totally relate to that, but also, are you there for yourself? You know what I mean? Like you also have to have that same care and that same love for yourself, because otherwise, the good old saying that everyone says about you can't put the oxygen mask on anyone else if you don't have it on yourself, So that totally is something that you have to be filling up your own bucket and then fill up others. So, and that's not selfish. That's literally, that's what has to happen. Otherwise you will be depleted and you will start feeling more and more of that kind of lack in every area,
Thank you for that reminder. You're right.
Oh,
That's survival. Thank
I
you.
feel so awful for your friends, but I'm glad that they have you for sure.
Thank you. And thank you all in the room for your support. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Yeah, we love you. We love your friends too.
Thank you.
Can I say something?
Sure.
LaDonna, I read this a long time ago and I've used it when you can't be with the person or you're thinking of them. Do you ever just hold them in your thought and just send them healing light? Like as an image, just hold them in there and just send loving, healing light to them if you can't be with them. Has anybody ever done that or heard that before?
Yes, definitely.
Yeah.
In meditation, in Buddhist meditation, loving kindness, any loving kindness practice is beautiful because it does start with ourselves, and that can be most challenging. So a lot of teachers will teach it to start with something that is a person or thing that a child, someone that you couldn't ever have any ill will towards, because it's easy for us to have that feeling towards our baby or our dog, something that we have this loving kindness towards. It can be hard to turn it towards ourselves, and so I feel like definitely, I don't know, almost like women are conditioned to give it to everyone else first, you know? So I would say too, any kind of loving kindness practice, you can look those up on YouTube or on like Insight Meditation
Yeah.
Timer, or, you know, I in our ending, we can do a little bit of that too, because I feel like it is so empowering, and it's so, I don't know, I feel it when I do it too. I don't know your name, Cromer. What's your
Oh, Marie. It just, I don't know
Marie,
why
okay.
it comes up. Marie. Yeah.
Marie, you're right. You're right. That is a great practice.
And this is a quote that I love my quotes, right? That I read. Meet everyone you meet today, treat it as if it were a divine intervention. Meaning, like I like take it to heart. Like if you see, you know, pass by a janitor in your building, treat the same as you would if you pass the CEO, or like a child in the street. If you embrace that, you know, hello or whatever, or kindness as everyone's a divine intervention, how better it just, like you're spreading the kindness, you're giving them your attention, or I don't know what I'm trying to say, but
Yeah.
but something
I
like that.
agree. I agree. And
I
it
like
is a
that quote.
practice, right? It is a
Practice. Yeah, that
practice,
could be a practice.
because do we do that every day? No. Like, and if you kind of decide that you're going to have the intention to do that, then just having that intention, you're going to interact more likely in that way, you
Right.
know? And so many of us are just going through life in kind of in that autopilot that we were talking
Mhm.
about, that, you know, you might be able to snap someone out of it.
Yeah. Oh.
Did anyone else want to say anything?
I just, Beth, when you talked about being present in the moment and kind of just, you know, going through the motions, and then you're like, oh, I just missed something so important. And a huge regret I have is, I mean, I'm glad I have them, but I spent most of my time when my kids were young, they're like 16 now, taking pictures. And so I'm not in any of the family photos, but I took so many pictures that I never, like, my memories of the moment are almost like not there. Like I have to look at the photos to be like, oh yeah. And and I've heard studies done, like put the camera down, you be in the moment, take 2-3 pictures, but don't, you know, that kind of thing. And so what you said really paralleled that, you know what I mean?
Definitely. How did y'all feel when Instagram and Facebook and WhatsApp went down yesterday? How did y'all feel about that? Like in the moment, what did you feel?
Almost isolated.
Okay.
LaDonna, you said you felt isolated?
Kind of, yeah. From my friend group, I was almost isolated.
Yeah.
I was like, what is happening?
I didn't know it really happened.
We're not surprised.
I think I was
I didn't
making a
care.
pie or something.
I was with a big.
I was panicking a little bit. I was panicking. At first I thought it was my Wi-Fi, but then YouTube on my TV was working and my other devices were working, and I was rebooting my phone, and I was just like, what is happening? The Facebook Messenger isn't working. I can't get a hold of anybody.
So I was with the big work group. So I was at work, and I feel like I saw like all the possible reactions that could happen with all the different people. So of course, like the head of social media and the woman that is like in charge of like keeping everyone up to date of everything that's happening at our work was like freaking out. She was like, this is my whole life. This is my whole job. How am I supposed to do this? Like that literally is her job. So she was panicking. And then I felt kind of like another person was like, oh, well, it'll come back up. Like, no, I'm not going to worry about it. I'll move on to this other thing. And then me and my boss was like, we were like, we should make this a thing. Like this should be a thing that Facebook closes down for 4 hours a day, every day, so that then you can actually do your work. So we kind of looked at it as like, oh, this is an opportunity to like do the things that we don't do that we don't need that for, you know? So it was interesting to see all the different reactions, but I almost think that was a good way of saying like, okay, kind of back to what you were saying, Angie, about like being present. If you're all you're doing, and I'm not saying this is what you were doing, but I feel like a lot of times with the photos and the social media, it's like you're living for this other thing that isn't a real thing, you know? So you're living for posting the pictures so that everybody knows what you did or how you want to come off as a person or mom or whatever. And I think it's interesting because I feel like I definitely have been there. So I feel okay saying that because I know that I personally have been there. And then when you let that go, so like because it went down and you had no choice, or because you made the conscious decision to put it down, it's a freedom. It's a freedom to go, oh gosh, I don't even have to worry about that anymore. So just like any of what our, I guess what they would call it like habitual behaviors are, when they get out of control, you know, a habitual behavior in the concept of Buddhism, it's like we're clinging to it. We need it, whatever it is, you know, whether it's social media, taking the pictures, you know, helping others. LaDonna, I'm not trying to throw you under the bus, but like that could be something that we're finding our, okay, are we finding our worth in that? And that is like a good thing. Like I also am the type of person that I volunteer for too many things. Like I'm like, oh, I'll do it, I'll do it, I'll do it. And then I realize like, oh, why am I saying that I'll do everything? Because I can't do everything perfectly. I can't be on the, you know, head of every single committee and then all of those committees are so super successful because of me. No, it's too much for one person. So even knowing that, looking at what is the motivation behind whatever this habitual behavior is, and then saying like, do I need all of that? Can I dial it back? You know, that definitely has been something that I've done in the pandemic. Like going back to my Girl Scout meetings, I'm like, yeah, we're not doing this. Sorry. You know what I mean? Like, I was like, I don't think I can be a Zoom Girl Scout troop leader. I like to be in the same room with them, you know? So the troop is still going on, but we're, you know, they're teenagers too. So that's a whole nother thing, but anyway, I guess what I'm saying is that I really relate to everything that y'all have all said for sure. And I don't know, I hope that some of what I've shared has been helpful. I think the other thing is that when we're talking about that interior voice that we have for ourselves, sometimes in an interaction with another person, we're having it towards them. So in that right mindfulness, having that kind of, this is another, like the therapist's concept, but I feel like it is very Buddhist, is having unconditional positive regard for others. And so having that thought that, you know, I'm going to have unconditional positive regard towards myself. So I'm not going to say, well, because you cheated on a test when you were in 10th grade, you're a cheater and you'll be a cheater for the rest of your life. You know, no, I'm not taking things from my past and judging myself, and I'm not going to look at someone else and judge them. So and that is a practice as well. So having unconditional positive regard towards yourself and towards others. This is like, to me, the funniest thing, but like I had never had a dog when I was a kid, and like people, my ex-husband, you know, he had a dog, and like I've had people that have had a dog in my house before that was their dog, but I really was just like, yeah, it's a dog. But after I started meditating and definitely starting doing a loving kindness practice and knowing what practicing unconditional positive regard, I feel like I just love things more, like beings way more. Like I have this kind of like love towards animals, and like definitely dogs more than I ever did as a, like, even as a 20-year-old. I mean, I used to dog sit my friends' dogs, but I still didn't like love that dog like I do any dog I see now. I'm just like, oh my God, look at that dog, you know, like it's so funny because and it's not something that I would, you know, it's not something like I'm going to practice this so I can be, you know, better with dogs. Do you know what I mean? Like it was just this weird kind of thing that I can say, yes, this is from doing that, I that as a result. And it's like a concrete thing that I can say, hey, this happened because of me doing this. But I know that it trickles down with everybody, you know, it trickles down with every interaction that I have in life. But it would definitely be something that I noticed that I could say concrete, you know, before doing loving kindness meditation and practicing unconditional positive regard. I was just like, yeah, dogs, whatever. Now I'm just like, oh my God, look at that dog. Like I see, every time I see a dog, I'm just like, it's so cute. Like I do love it. You know what I mean? So anyway, it's a practice and you don't even realize what outcomes will come from it. And we don't do any of the practice for the outcome, you know, we don't, because it is to be more present in our daily lives. It is to, you know, experience this life with gratitude and, you know, I don't even want to say positivity, but it's just accepting what is and being okay with what's happening right now. So I guess I'm going to end it on that because I feel like that was a good nugget to end on. And I'll just say this too. This is like my first time ever trying to do a Dharma talk. I'm not a Dharma teacher. I am a meditation leader, and I've studied with a lot of awesome teachers, Christy being one of them. So I do feel very honored that she invited me to fill in, and I hope it has been at least slightly fruitful for you.
Absolutely. I'm so glad you came.
Thank you. Yeah. Thank you so much. So we'll just sit for the last, it lasts till 8, is that right or no? Does it last?
Usually 7:15, 7:30 if we go over, but I mean, if the ladies are willing to stay, I'm willing to stay.
Wait, so it's usually over by this time?
Oh yeah. So we got started pretty late, so
Oh, okay.
yeah.
Well, shall we just sit for like 15 minutes? Would that be okay?
It's up to Angie and Marie.
I mean, I'm fine.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And then, you know, usually what I do is like a slightly guided and then sitting in silence like we did at the beginning, but I'll just try to guide it the whole time since it's
Oh,
only
that
15.
sounds good.
Okay. All right. Well, again, thank you so much. So just find a comfortable position. And what we're doing really is kind of rooting in. So feeling wherever we are. Yes, we are on Zoom and we are all together experiencing this, but you are in the room that you're in. So feeling the connection of your feet to the floor, your legs on the chair, allowing your spine to reach up from your hips in a straight line, sitting with a respectful, dignified posture. Stacking one vertebrae on top of the other. From your lower back to the middle of your back, between your shoulder blades, all the way up to your neck. And letting your head balance on top of that spine. Again, you can pull your shoulders back, up and back, and then let your arms hang to the side of your body. And just rest your hands on your lap. Your palms can be down, fingers spread apart. Resting these hands that are busy all day long. There's absolutely nothing for them to do right now. Bringing your attention to your front body. Notice if you're holding any tension in your belly. And just release it. Letting go. When you pulled your shoulders back, I hope your chest kind of opened up. Just allow your heart and your front to be soft and open. We're resting our throat and our voice. and taking solace in the fact that we have no need to speak right now. Resting in the silence. Allowing it to be a gift we give ourselves. You can tuck your chin slightly and feel a little bit of an elongation in the back of your neck. And rest the tip of your tongue on the back of your teeth with your lips slightly parted. And let your face be expressionless, letting go for the need of smiling or frowning. We're just neutral. Relaxing all the muscles around our mouth and our eyes. Allow your eyelids to be heavy. I find it helpful to leave my eyes open just a bit. It keeps me here. But you can close them if that's more comfortable for you. Making sure that our eyebrows are relaxed and our forehead is not furrowed. Just letting go of every muscle in our face. And we reaching our crown of our head upwards. And again, planting our sits bones down. Letting our back be strong and straight. And our front body soft and open. And you've been breathing this whole time, your normal way of breathing. So continue to do so. You're doing a great job. And if you can, bring your attention to the breath. So this can mean that we're following the path of the air as we inhale through our nostrils, following the air down the back of our throat. Noticing as our lungs inflate and our chest rises, somewhere in there, the inhale becomes an exhale and the air travels outward in the same path. Allowing our breath to be natural, just our normal pace of breathing, but we're bringing our attention to it. So that can be feeling the sensations, noticing if you feel any kind of temperature change, perhaps at the nostril area. Do you feel some moisture? Do you feel light and airy? Is any of it laborious? Just really being with your body as you breathe. Perhaps when you breathe, you feel it as deep as your belly. Or perhaps when you exhale through your mouth. Just really investigate what it feels like in your body to breathe. We're using our breath as a tool of the present moment. So each new breath that we take is a new moment to be with. So as we say, that instruction is very simple, but not always easy. Since our mind tends to wander, it's totally fine. we have that kindness towards ourselves. But knowing that thoughts will come, lists will come, plans might come, and our mind could get called away at any moment. And no matter how long you've been on the journey of whatever thought arises, there will be a moment that you realize you're not with your breath, or you're not in this space with all of us still. And that's your moment of awakening. You've awoken to not being present. And you just begin again. Kindly remind yourself to come back to your breath and feel the new breath. So as I said, we would do a little bit of loving kindness. If you can, think of a person in your life that is someone that you do have unconditional positive regard for. So this can be a child. It can be a pet. Someone that you just have a huge amount of unconditional love towards. And just think to yourself as I say these words, may they be peaceful. May they be happy. May they be safe. May they awaken to the true light, and may they awaken to the light of their true nature. And may they be free. And now if you can, shift your intention and shift that loving kindness towards yourself with that same unconditional positive regard and that loving kindness. And say to yourself, may I be peaceful. May I be happy. May I be safe. May I awaken to the light of my own true nature. May I be free. And bringing that outward a little bit more to everyone that's in this Zoom room now. So all of us that had held space for one another, even anyone that watches this recording later, may all of us be peaceful. May all of us be happy. May all of us be safe. May all of us awaken to the light of our own true nature. May all of us be free. And see if we can bring that awareness out even further. And we'll go for the entire state of Mississippi, since we're all in Mississippi. I think, not all of us, but we'll go for that big bubble of people. See if all of us can send this out, this loving kindness out. So may all of us and all of them be peaceful. May they all be happy. May they all be safe. May they all awaken to the light of their own true nature. May they all be free. And binding it in our hearts to spread that even further outside of our borders, outside of even our country, and to the entire world. May we all be peaceful. May we all be happy. May we all be safe. May we all awaken to the light of our own true nature. May we all be free. For our last few moments together, I'll invite you to turn the corners of your lips upward with a slight smile and hold that. This is a symbol of contentment and gratitude. And if you feel called, you can put your hands over your heart. And this is a symbol of compassion and caring towards ourselves and all other living beings. And we can bring our practice to a close. I thank you for your practice, and I thank you for your presence. Thank you again so much for having me. I really appreciate your presence and paying attention and really your interaction and really sharing with the group. So I feel like that was really helpful, and that might be all I have to say. I don't know if anyone else wants to share anything or say anything, but I do thank you all for allowing me this opportunity.
I just want to thank you, Beth, so much. This has been wonderful.
Good.
Oh, you're very engaging and very down to earth, and a wonderful speaker, and with great meditation. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Thank you
Thank
so
you.
much. Are you all right, LaDonna?
Yeah, I am. Thank you.
We
I wanna
love
thank
you.
all
I know
for
that we
being
love you.
here.
Like I said, I don't even really know you that well, but I do know that I love you. So
Thank you
everything's
so
gonna be
much.
okay. And if you want to call me later, you can.
Thank you so much. I want to thank you all for your kindness and listening to me and your compassion. I know you didn't have to be here tonight, but I'm glad all of you were. It means a lot to me, and I'm grateful for it. So thank you.
Yeah, it wouldn't have been the same without any of you being here. So it was
Right.
all intent, this was all supposed to happen this way. So thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you so much for being here, Beth. I'm really grateful for you. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Have a good night.
All of you have a great night. Thank you.